It's an adventure on the open road. This is Targa Newfoundland.
The scenery is fabulous out here. The roads are challenging.
The people are fantastic, and maybe the people are the most important part of the event.
Now, Targa belongs on every racer's bucket list.
You start, and heaven only knows where you're going to end up in the next 6 days.
It's a 5-day rally around an island so picturesque that even the racer in you wants to stop to take a photograph.
We've come to a part of the world that we wouldn't normally have come to.
You feel a bit like a UPS package on a long delivery.
It's an absolutely gorgeous old town. It's picture card perfect.
And it's a challenge so grand, only the best of the best even finish it, let alone conquer it.
A week-long adventure that's all wrapped around this beautiful island here.
It just blows me away every year.
Get ready for Targa Newfoundland on Canada's sports leader, TSN. Hello, Canada. Vic Rowder, along with TSN rally analyst Paul Chater. Welcome to St. John's, Newfoundland, and the start of the annual automotive adventure, Paul, that is Targa Newfoundland.
Vic, I really look forward to this rally every year. Over the last 8 runnings, it's proven itself a truly world-class event.
We have cars from the 60s, from BMWs all the way up to 2010 or 2009 cars. If you open up a dictionary or whatever car manufacturer, you probably find one, from a Healy to a Nissan to a BMW to Honda, everything's here.
And along with all those cars comes an A-list of drivers from around the world, and attacking Targa for the very first time, former IMSA champ Steve Millen, and his weapon of choice?
Well, it's the new Nissan GTR supercar, and it really is a supercar. This particular car, now that we've modified it, will do 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds. I love it. 4-wheel drive, 620 horsepower. The thing is a rocket ship.
Although Millen's ride is the pinnacle of modern technology, Targa rules are written so that any car can be competitive, regardless of when or where it was made. Mark I Escorts next to Porsche GT3s, Subarus next to smart cars. There's a class and potential bragging rights for everybody.
All right, Paul, run the numbers for us, please.
Okay, 55 teams representing 6 countries and 57 years of automotive development will challenge the 2,300-kilometer route over 5 days of competition. 41 closed-road special stages will see the rally visit 72 cities and towns across the province, and you can bet that the fans will be out in force on each leg. The rules for Targa are unique in rallying. To ensure that all cars have an equal chance at winning, different target times are assigned to each class. Times are adjusted for weather conditions. For every second a team is over their target time, they collect a penalty point. At the end of the rally, the team with the fewest penalty points is the winner.
So the teams will have to dig deep to find the courage, the stamina, the endurance, the skill to complete Targa Newfoundland. It's a challenge that builds bonds among all the competitors, creates friendly rivalries and memories that will last a lifetime. The ceremonial start on Sunday here on St. John's waterfront begins the rally with a warm-up Prologue day. It's a chance for the teams to shake down the cars, to get used to Targa route books, and most importantly, to get the right mindset before the real competition begins. And while any car from any year can be competitive on the rock, the sharpest edge a team can have at Targa, well, simply is their past experience.
I think it's very important. You get a flavor for the road. You understand the communication that's needed between the co-driver and the driver. You know areas where you have to go fast. You know areas where you can save the car.
I have a pretty good memory for roads, so I'll remember the roads when we come onto them. Plus, we have 1 year experience. We're no longer the newbies here.
But I think, there's a lot of local knowledge here. There's a lot of people here who have done these roads a lot. So there's a lot of things for us to learn.
Despite his big crash last year, Targa veteran Jim Kenzie is back with a new car.
And this is a brand new Mini Challenge car. These are built in the Mini factory in Oxford as race cars. So this will be its rally debut.
Another veteran of every Targa Newfoundland is Judd Buchanan, and he has a keen eye on the competition.
For sure, I think some of the favorites would include the Subaru team now with Mark LaChapelle and Keith Townsend. I think they'll be a real force to be reckoned with. We've seen the car road testing. And of course, Glenn Clark is here with a brand new car, and Glenn's won the event before.
Well, you always have to look at Roy Hopkins and Judd Buchanan as the main competition. There's a lot of new teams as well that could be very quick. I think you can never count out Steve Millen. There's so much experience and capability there. And I also think that there's a 1965 911 from Germany that could be a dark horse for this event.
And that Porsche is driven by three-time Carrera Panamericana winner Michael Stoschek.
I was 2006 European champion in historic rallying in Germany and Finland. And I hope it's not wet so much in this event because my tires are very bad for a wet road.
Tire choice is critical. The teams have to make 6 tires last the whole event, and that means picking something that will work in all conditions. It's just part of the challenge that makes Targa spectacular.
I think the Targa concept of real cars on real roads with real people around, the Targa, it's not a predictable thing. You start and heaven only knows where you're going to end up in the next 6 days.
The scenery is fabulous out here. The roads are challenging.
The people are fantastic, and maybe the people are the most important part of the event.
It's fabulous to be able to do what we do.
And a Targa roll call, well, it wouldn't be complete without seeing Las Vegas Lucy, the Mini of Dave Pledger and Chris Willick.
They're one of 9 teams celebrating Mini as the 2009 Honored Market Targa, and Mini is sponsoring the rally this year.
And then, of course, Paul, there's the scenery. Newfoundland really does have a quality all its own. And now let's go to the start line for some Prologue shakedown. This is the Subaru Rally Team Canada car of Mark LaChapelle and Keith Townsend.
With 3 years' worth of Targa experience, LaChapelle is in a good position to lead the modern division. Despite being down on power compared to Millen's GTR, this Subaru is a lighter weight clone of the 09 Canadian Rally Championship winning STI.
Oh, gee, and problems right away for LaChapelle and Townsend.
That's a hard hit on the co-driver's side. Looks like on the replay he was carrying too much speed into the corner, and when the Subaru got light over a bump, they understeered into the embankment. I hope all their safety gear's working the way it should.
Red Cross! And you can hear the call for the Red Cross as they come out, meaning either the driver or the co-driver has been injured, and the stage crews, they spring into rehearsed action as well. They never hope for this, but of course they are ready for it. Targa Newfoundland on TSN is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador. Coming up, Team Subaru overcomes their crash and makes it to the starting line. And old battles new.
The technology in that car is amazing.
The real competition begins when we come back. Welcome back to Targa Newfoundland here on TSN. As we get ready to start the first official day of competition here in Newfoundland, and wouldn't you know it, Mother Nature has decided to put her own spin on the challenge. It's wet, it's windy, but brighter weather is to come.
The crews will cover 500 kilometers today, starting in St. John's and running stages in Argentia, Placentia, along the Osprey Trail to Port Blandford and Eastport, before finally bunking down in Gander for the night.
And Paul, as the teams line up to start the first special stage of the day and the rally, I think I'm speaking for all of us when I'm so glad to see that Subaru Rally Team Canada up and running.
Yeah, absolutely, Vic. Yesterday's crash resulted in both Mark LaChapelle and co-driver Keith Townsend getting checked out at the hospital. Mark was knocked out briefly by the impact, and Keith suffered a cracked rib. But thankfully, neither had more serious injuries. Unfortunately, Keith is unable to continue in his role as the co-driver.
All right, then who's calling the notes?
Team Subaru's chief mechanic, Stuart Ho. Stuart is no stranger to rallying, having been a hero in service to Subaru drivers for 10 years, but this is his first run as a co-driver.
So we have a bad crash, a rookie co-driver, LaChapelle, you'd have to think, is struggling with his confidence.
And it's confidence he'll need to go the whole distance.
And Paul, if he needs inspiration, well, he'll find it at every checkpoint. One of the largest armies of motorsports volunteers in the world has been assembled to make Targa Newfoundland happen, and they all work as a cohesive team. Now, having developed his ride over the last 8 Targas, Judd Buchanan is hoping for a win this year.
My car is a 67 Acadian Cancel, which I bought 15 years ago. Well, the rules dictate that you have to run an OE block or an equivalent to OE engine block, so that would restrict me to a small block Chevy or electronic fuel injection. is allowed on a classic car. Our car is equipped with it. So when you come to an environment here and the barometric pressure is different, and it's just a lot easier to tune it. We've developed a front and rear suspension that has a lot of travel in order to handle these roads. It's as simple as that.
Judd's Acadian represents the elite of old school iron, and in sharp contrast is the leading edge technology of Millen's GTR.
The GTR is an amazing car. The technology in that car is amazing. We looked at every part of the car and we said, okay, we're starting with a great car, so we don't want to screw up any part of it, because if you do something, it could have a negative effect on something else. We didn't get into the engine at all, but we gave it more boost. We gave it a full flowing exhaust system on it. We modified the suspension with a completely adjustable bump, rebound, ride height and so on suspension. And then we've got carbon ceramic brakes in the car, which are the very latest technology in braking. And some lightweight panels and stuff like that, then all the safety equipment. That's about the extent of it. We didn't get into it a lot, but we just improved it in handling, braking and performance.
And Paul, it doesn't look like Frank Sprongel's ride has changed at all since a year ago.
Pretty tough to improve on Group B, Vic. Sprongel's 83 Quattro is pretty much identical to last year, having dominated the Open Division in his Targa debut. He's obviously decided not to mess with success.
2008 winners Roy Hopkins and Adrienne Hughes are back in the SpongeBob BMW 2002, and I'll bet they have a similar philosophy.
Even in a car as capable as the original Sport Compact, they need to be careful not to rest on their laurels. Many other teams have taken their game up a notch this year, and cars like Bob Ewell's Camaro will definitely give them a run for their money. Classic Division seems to be where the heaviest competition will take place. Hopkins, Ewell, Buchanan, and now Paul Horton from Turks and Caicos with his Mark I Rally Escort are all vying not only for the Classic win, but overall honors.
And Paul, at the end of day one, the teams can get up close and personal with the fans at the first of the nightly car shows. The cars are on display, teams can relax and contemplate the day's results. Now, it may have seemed rough, but day one times are relatively easy to hit, and now we have 13 teams tied for the lead, all with a perfect score.
It was a great day. A lot of fun in the rain on Highway 1 there, getting to the first stage, but it cleared up and turned into a beautiful day.
After the first short stage, the navigator got on pace and I got on pace, and we started just running a lot better. The car was handling well, and we just felt confident together.
Yeah, I think the car's pretty hooked up. We've got great torque, great acceleration, a good gearbox, and the car's very fast. So if I can keep from breaking it, we should be a contender this year.
And while some just have to shine their car for the next day's competition, others, well, they've had different luck.
It was going so well, and cars at Targa are just getting faster, and the old bomb just can't keep up, I think.
Hey, this is the first day we've ever completed, not because today is the first day, but because last year we couldn't complete one whole day in a row. And so you feel a bit like a UPS package on a long delivery. And I think I chipped a tooth on the transit stage.
So it's success for some, calamity for others. But adventure for all. Day 2 action is up next, and we'll see some familiar faces and places. And the 13-way tie for the lead will be broken when we come back to
Targa Newfoundland.
Welcome back to Targa Newfoundland 2009 on TSN. And amidst the natural rugged beauty of the coast at sunrise, day 2 of competition starts bright and early. And there's no time to waste as the target speeds get tougher from here on in, and let's hope they got a good night's sleep, Paul.
They're going to need it, Vic. We've got 340 kilometers over 8 stages today. Day 2 sees stops in Appleton, Bobby's Cove, Pleasant View, Leading Tickles, Point Leamington, and finishes with the legendary Gander special stage through town.
Glenn Clark of Mountain, Ontario shares the lead with 12 other teams as they head to the stages. Included in the frontrunners, Targa veterans, Hopkins and Hughes.
Drive slow? Not these guys. Last year's Targa Newfoundland boiled down to a battle between the BMWs of New York's Roy Hopkins and California's Bill Arnold. That battle raged until Arnold's Bavaria broke 3 stages from the end of the rally. Arnold couldn't make it this year, but if Hopkins thinks that will make things easier, there's a host of competitors waiting to prove him wrong.
And Paul, one of those competitors is Bob Ewell. Mike McKenzie drove this '69 Camaro to 4th overall a year ago, and I'm sure he thinks that he can do better.
Watching the BMW battle the Camaro is like reliving road racing in the 60s and 70s. It's the age-old argument of small and nimble versus large and powerful. Finesse versus brute force. Here at Targa Newfoundland, every car is ideally suited to some stage.
Peter Robindane is posting some blistering speed in his modified Honda, and he's hoping to challenge Sprongel for the Open Class win.
And so is Jim Kenzie, who used to dominate Open Class before Sprongel showed up with his Group B Quattro. But the racing spec suspension in his Mini is proving too stiff for some of the rougher roads here in Newfoundland.
And adding to the international flair of Targa is Great Britain's Roger Tillotson and Steve Robertson, hoping to score top honors in the modern division.
Porsche 911 seemed to be the weapon of choice for many teams. Clean until Stage 6 is the aptly named 1984 911 Targa of Connecticut's Timothy Lynn and Ian McLaren.
And finally, having retired his Firebird after last year's run, it looks like local hero Tom Collingwood has joined the Porsche convertees with a 911 GT3 RS. It's lent the Targa veteran an extra dollop of speed.
At a much more relaxed pace, Las Vegas Lucy is soldiering on, actually finishing stages. Last year, Lucy let Pledger and Willett down on numerous occasions, the mechanical failures resulting in equal parts hilarity and frustration for the American team. The old Mini seems to be behaving better this year.
And of course, as Ricky used to say, Lucy, you have some splaining to do a year ago. Now we're back in Gander, Paul, for the last stage of the day, and it really is one that the spectators and the competitors wait for.
The Gander Super Special Stage has 30 turns and 7 kilometers, almost all of them square lefts or rights. The fastest cars have to maintain an average speed over 85 kilometers an hour, but despite the difficulty, it's a favorite.
The one I enjoy personally driving, I love Gander Stage. You can just use the power and go through it. We never make the stage times, but I try my damnedest to make the times because it's almost like driving on dirt. You got to be clean and quick. You can slide it a little bit, but just maximize it, and I love that stage.
Now, Stoschek didn't appreciate how difficult Gander could be, and it cost him penalties.
We had the feeling after the stages before, the time is enough and we mustn't push so hard. So we didn't drive 100% in Gander, only 85 or 90, and that wasn't enough then.
Back up to speed, La Chapelle fell victim of not listening to his co-driver, almost missing one of the turns. The red tape became a target.
When you're driving at speed, it's a mere strand it's a mere red wire in your field of vision. So I overshot. That cost us about 10 or 12 seconds. Not the end of the world, but the rest, I was so amazed by the car. It was nicely dialed in. It feels low, squat, quick. The engine is punchy. I had a ball.
And also having a ball on his first run through Gander, Steve Millen and his GTR, easily the fastest of the modern division through the tight and the twisty stuff, hustling the supercar through the stage. It was a real workout for this road racing legend.
I approach that stage like, sit up hard in the seat, get on top of the wheel and be the boss. Because if you're not the boss of the car on that stage, you're going to lose. You've got to be inch perfect. You can't turn in too early, you'll hit a curb, you can't let the thing drift out too far to hit a curb, and through those little narrow streets and curves and out of the car was magic. It was just so much fun to drive. I think it's fabulous that they can close the community down and get so much enthusiasm as they did.
Judd Buchanan is proving that he's a threat for the win, almost cleaning the Gander stage. He picks up just one penalty point, his first of the whole event.
But Paul, the real hero at Gander, Glenn Clark. He's our new leader, being the only one in the whole rally to come through Gander clean. So after 2 days of competition, the tie for the lead finally broken. Glenn Clark, Andy Proudfoot lead the rally, being the only team with the perfect score. Judd Buchanan just a second behind, and Euro Rally champion Stoschek right on his heels.
The teams spend their last night in Gander, and now that the competition is intensifying, the service crews are having to stay up later and later making repairs and adjustments.
And while some of the cars just need a little quick wash and wax to be ready for the next day, well, some things they just don't buff out.
We've got marshals that saw it happen and said that they thought the tyre went off the rim and thought it popped. went in back end first, and I think we did a full flip back onto the back end and then went over to the front again, and I don't really know because it was all a bit of a blur, but we spent thousands on safety equipment. So we've got lateral head restraint seats and hands devices, and we love it. Hopefully we'll be back next year.
The scenery, the fans, the challenge. Every team has their own story.
This is like a survival course for us. It's not really about, racing and being competitive. Obviously, we're in a car that came originally with clown shoes and big red nose.
More Targa Newfoundland when we come back. Welcome back. Vic Roeder along with Paul Chater, and although a little rain is forecast for the morning, it's shaping up to be yet another postcard day here on the island as we get set to start the third day of Targa Newfoundland. We're at the halfway point of this 2,300 kilometer adventure. The teams are getting sharper, the target times are getting tighter, and the competition is getting tougher with each stage.
640 kilometers and 7 stages between Gander and Marystown today. We'll hit Davidsville, Fredericton, Noggin Cove, Carmanville, Musgrave Harbor, New West Valley, Greens Pond, Northwest Brook, and Gooseberry Cove. Quite the run.
Glenn Clark is the overall and classic division leader. Top 6 teams separated by 10 seconds. Millen leads modern, Sprongel, open, and now knowing when to push. That's the key.
Well, it's difficult. Roy's very, very good in the wet. I'm not quite as good in the wet. I think my car is built for stages like Greenspawn, so I should be quick there.
Musgrave Harbor, for sure. They've bumped the speed up 10%. Most people can't make it. I know I can't make that speed. I don't believe Glenn Clark can make that speed.
And probably New West Valley as well. New West Valley in these conditions is very treacherous. You get high winds and slippery pavement. I spun there in 2006 with a gust of wind, and I don't look forward to that one.
What's kind of fun is we're friends, we're kind of in the same support team, and we're rooting for each other. So it's good. That's what makes Targa great.
Now, despite the tail-wagging nature of the 911s in the wet, Clark cleans the first 2 stages and only takes 4 at Musgrave Harbor.
In order to curb the incredible turbo lag of his Quattro, Sprongel fitted a smaller turbocharger to the car overnight. The added punch opens up his lead in open division to over 90 seconds. Quebec's Peter Robindane moves up to second in open, passing Jim Kenzie and actually posting the fastest time on stage 7. Amazing speed for the privateer.
Nova Scotians Bob Ewell, Kirk Alexander running steadily in 5th, but don't count them out for a win. There is still a long way to go, and consistency pays dividends here at Targa.
Demonstrating the way a Porsche 911 is meant to be driven is Scott Ganu, the Newfoundland native, currently up to 7. Add big power, a rear engine, and tight corners, and it equals oversteer.
And then there's Las Vegas Lucy, just doing her thing.
It's funny, I think that Dave and I met at the pub to try and work out the best kind of vehicle we'd need. Something with a lot of suspension travel, something very reliable, something with a lot of, creature comforts in the cabin, like heated seats, window defrosters, maybe a stereo for the long stages. And then as we progressively drank, we ended up laughing and either wanting to bring a monster truck or a Mini. So we ended on the Mini because a monster truck was really expensive to ship. I liken it, I tried to explain it to my wife, and we climbed Kilimanjaro years ago in Africa, and I said, you don't enjoy climbing the mountain. You enjoy the view on the top, and you enjoy coming back down and realizing that you've done it. And it's a great accomplishment, and you enjoy the aftermath. And this is like a survival course for us. It's not really about, racing and being competitive. Obviously, we're in a car that came originally with clown shoes and big red nose. So this is really about just if we have the field mechanic knowledge, so we can press a hubcap into where ball bearings used to go and keep this thing on the road. I mean, the car wasn't that great 50 years ago, and certainly now that it's the 50-year anniversary of Mini, the parts are even older, harder to find, and much more difficult to keep going.
Judd Buchanan is having to exercise his field repair skills as well.
Musgrave Harbor, our clutch started seriously slipping. The story is we have a clutch that occasionally slips on the line, and other times we have insufficient, clutch release.
The teams get to take a break for lunch at the stunning Newtown Barber Historical Site. Targa gives the kids a great reason to take a break from the books and check out the cars.
And Paul, while the fire-breathing Targa cars might get all the attention, the competition in the Grand Touring class is also heating up.
And it's really well organized, so you get in here and the adrenaline is going, especially through the neighborhoods. It just is unbelievable. And I never expected it to be this much fun.
The Grand Touring class is for cars that haven't been modified with things like roll cages. It's a time, speed, distance style of rally, and while the target times are much easier to hit, the competition is still fierce. Brian Jarvis and Daphne Slay are leading the Grand Touring equipped class, while last year's class winners, Alan Curley and Greg Martin, are ahead in the unequipped class.
Steve Millen and Mike Monticello managed to clean every stage except for Musgrave Harbor, while Glenn Clark looks forward to the super fast and twisty Greenspawn stage.
Greenspawn's always a highlight for me in the event. It's one of my favorite stages. It's very narrow, it's very challenging. It's very easy to make a mistake in there, and our car is set up for it. In fact, we designed our first gear in the car to get us the best launch out of the last corner going up the hill.
Clark cleaned the Greenspawn stage, as did Michael Stoschek, and Philip Spaeth, the German team, have learned their lesson at Gander and now driving each stage as hard as they can.
So as we check the leaderboard, Buchanan's clutch problems drop him from second to fifth, but still only 10 seconds off. Hopkins and Ewell move up, while Musgrave Harbor drops Millen to sixth. He still leads, though, the modern division and has posted the absolute fastest time on 10 of 22 stages.
The teams gather their thoughts and the pieces in Marystown tonight and prep for another day's worth of heavy competition tomorrow. None of the teams can relax. The upcoming Day 4 is often a turning point at Targa.
And that is when we'll visit one of the prettiest places on the planet. And we'll see a rally legend wow the crowds when we come back. Targa Newfoundland on TSN. Welcome back to Targa Newfoundland. And Mother Nature has decided to say a big good morning to the competitors facing Day 4. Look at this. The sun is out, the sky's clear, and it is absolutely perfect weather to kick off one of the toughest days of competition here on the island.
Day 4 is based around Marystown and will include 9 stages with a mix of fast-flowing runs and tight in-town sections. Along the way, we'll see Little Bay, Harbor Mill, Mooring Cove, Frenchman's Cove, Fortune, and Garnish.
And can you imagine, Paul, it getting any more beautiful than this? There really is a photo moment at every turn.
Judd Buchanan certainly doesn't have time for taking pictures now. The clutch on his Acadian is still acting up despite the team's best efforts last night, and he's struggling to make his target times. His choice in car does give him a bit of an advantage, though. With a big American V8 under the hood, he's got enough torque that he doesn't need to shift gears very often to keep the car in its power band. In a smaller car with a peakier engine, this clutch problem would be a disaster. Let's hope he gets it sorted out soon.
As for Targa leader Glenn Clark, well, he continues to keep his 76 911 clean through the morning stages, while the much newer 911 of Collingwood isn't faring as well. The target times for the modern cars are really much tougher to hit than those for the classic division. And over the course of the morning, Collingwood falls further behind, while Hopkins and Hughes are having a blast.
One of our favorite stages is Harbor Mill. It's really not a separator stage. A lot of the top cars don't take points there, but it's a nice, long, high-speed run. There's one small, tiny town that's very technical to get through, but when you get in there, they have a great breakfast for you. It's an absolutely gorgeous old town that used to stand by itself 50 years ago. There wasn't even a road into it. It's picture card perfect.
In a setting like this, the classic division cars seem perfectly situated. But while their times are much tougher to hit, the modern division is becoming more competitive every year here at Targa.
I believe a modern car can win the event if everything goes perfect and there are no issues.
If one was to drive a WRC full-spec rally car, you could win this event outright. You could beat the classic cars in the event. We got to average 132 an hour on the stage. The classic cars only got to do, for example, maybe 110 or 115, or if that.
The problem is there are some stages where there's not enough grip, and that gives the classic cars the advantage. If the grip level is here and you have to meet a time here, it's impossible. And that is the problem in some of the stages. Classic cars are underneath that grip level limit. They can make their times, and the modern cars can't.
But if you have a proper car built for this event, you can win it outright, but it'll take a huge budget to do it.
Now, despite the modern car's disadvantages, nobody knows how to succeed in the face of a challenge better than rally master Frank Sprongel, using every ounce of grip his Quattro has, and then some.
The Audi is still dominating the Open division with an unprecedented but well-earned 6-minute lead in the class.
Having taken only 6 points yesterday and so far clean today, Michael Stoschek and Philip Spaeth are firmly in second. Road racing experience is obviously a great benefit here at Targa, but sometimes even the legends have to learn new habits.
Day 4 I really enjoyed because we didn't have a lot of touring to do and we were just going from stage to stage to stage, you know, and it was good. That's what it should be like. So we had a good run through Marystown the first time through. I only took 2 seconds. I was even a bit disappointed about that actually because I thought we'd gone pretty hard. But then we went on down through the peninsula and we went down to Fortune. And I knew that was going to be a tough one. With the GTR, if you get very aggressive with it, like throw it around like a typical rally car, like sideways in and sideways out and stuff like that, it loves it because of that four-wheel drive. Even though you're going sideways, it's just firing ahead as well. And so we would be off the road and just hard on the gas and just up to the next corner. And so we got through and we cleaned it first time out. And we thought that's great. And over lunch I was thinking about it. I was thinking, okay, if I drive this thing cleaner and tidier, it's probably going to be quicker. So the second time through, I did drive it cleaner and neater, but we actually missed cleaning it. And at that time I said, okay, now I've had 2 chances to do the same stage, and it does love to be driven aggressively. It does love to be hung out and sideways and everything, because it is quicker that way.
The spectator-packed 2-pass Marystown stage is also a favorite of 2008 winner Roy Hopkins.
It's high speed through the town with some, once again, gravelly corners up through a couple apartment complexes. You go under a bridge that's just lined with spectators. It's really cool. But you have to carry a lot of speed through it, and we really worked hard on preparing for Marystown, and for the first time ever in Targa, we cleared both those stages. And that was really important.
So Hopkins joins Clark and Stoschek as the only drivers to clean every stage on day 4. Judd Buchanan has overcome his clutch problems and is starting to make progress back up the field. And Millen's lead in the modern division, well, it's looking insurmountable.
One more night in Marystown tonight before the rally sets out on its final leg tomorrow. Some are more confident than others.
Yeah, at the end of Thursday, we had a 5-second lead over the German 911 team and an extra second over Roy and Adrian in the BMW. I was pretty confident. If the weather was good on Friday, we wouldn't have any trouble maintaining the lead.
Yeah, but we know at Targa Newfoundland, the only sure thing is that the unpredictable can happen.
It was the scariest stage.
What do they call it in Newfoundland? Ponding. It was beyond ponding.
The tyres were just running on that bald spot, and that wouldn't have been fun.
Mother Nature's wild card forces all the teams to fight to the finish when we come back. We're back for the beginning of the final day of competition of Targa Newfoundland. Vic Router along with Paul Chater. And dawn reveals a sight that few of the competitors want to see. Of course, the province famous for its radical weather changes, and it looks like The Rock has decided that none of the teams should leave without the full Newfoundland experience.
Starting in Marystown with stops in Boat Harbor, Pettyfort, Harbor Grace, Brigus, Marysvale, and Conception Harbor. The teams will have to tread carefully across 500 kilometers and 9 stages in the final run back to St. John's and the finish of the rally.
And you know, Paul, the teams have been running hard now for 4 days. Exhaustion has to be setting in. With conditions like this, it requires attention, and the drivers will have to stay focused.
The top teams prepare for these eventualities, but we'll see how well their strategies work.
Starting day 5, I think we were in 3rd place. Glenn Clark still had very minimal points, looked uncatchable. Stolczek's 911 in Class 3 was also solidly ahead of us.
Unfortunately, waking up on Friday, it was raining, which is not a terrible problem. The car's pretty good in the rain.
And it was brutal rain in the morning.
What do they call it in Newfoundland? Ponding. It was beyond ponding. Ponding I can deal with.
The standing water on the roads dramatically increases the chances of hydroplaning, a condition where the tires skip across the surface of the water rather than touching the pavement.
But the rain does have an equalizing effect on the competition.
That's right, Vic. Wet roads limit the ability of the faster cars to put the power down on the road. This gives an advantage to the smaller, lighter cars like Van Winden's NSU or Pledger's Mini, and severely hampers bigger, more powerful cars like Shanahan's Falcon or Halloran's Mustang.
First stage was okay. It was Boat Harbor, one going in.
Yeah, going out to Boat Harbor was fantastic. Good, fast-flowing road.
Coming out was a different story because it was just pouring.
And now, with weather like this, the tire choices which were made last week can mean the difference between winning and losing.
During the break, after the first special stage, the rain really came in and the road just got flooded with standing water.
It was extreme wet weather, and I wasn't too concerned. I thought we'd make our time.
We looked at his tires before the day started, and they were bald on the inside. They were completely bald. And obviously in the dry, that's really good. But we knew he was in trouble in the rain. And he also had a lot of rear camber in that car. And so the tires were just running on that bald spot. And that wouldn't have been fun.
The problem was we got going and the car would hydroplane at 90 kilometers an hour.
Roy Hopkins knows better than anyone how critical tire choice can be.
Your tire selection here is often a gamble. If it's basically dry, you need a tire with a lot of grip. If it's going to be wet all week, you need a tire that will work in heavy rain.
Targa has a rule you can bring 6 tires to the event. You can bring any 6 tires you want. You can have dry tires or rain tires. Most of the teams I kind of bring an intermediate tire, so if it rains you get best of both worlds if it's dry.
And we always kind of go with the dry setup and hope to drive it in the rain, and just because our car seems to work in the rain okay.
Now this is the Pontiac Solstice of Bruno Rodriguez, and it looks like he made the wrong choice, Paul.
Similar trouble for Tim Gorn's Datsun 240Z. Dirk Bolger just barely misses him.
And look at this. No Mayhem honor roll would be complete without Las Vegas Lucy.
I remember joking about the fact that either the rain or the snow is Subaru weather. Having an all-wheel drive car is one thing, but you can't do anything if you don't have grip. You know?
It was a stage that you didn't want to take any risks on because there were sometimes rivers running across the road, and if you hit that the wrong way, it could fire you off the road.
On the high-speed stages, we were using the gravel technique, so I was the only one driving in the shoulders. Down a straight line, I'd be in the shoulder doing 170. I was the only guy running in because there's no water standing on the gravel shoulder. In the middle of the road, you'd be hydroplane, you get on the shoulder, you just put your foot down and you go.
It was the scariest stage of my 3 years at Targa.
And for some, the damage, irreparable.
Glenn Clark was a disaster for him.
And there was no way that we could make the car go faster than 90, and that was the end of the event for us. Our goal was to win, and to me, second place is the first loser. It might not be a good attitude, but that's the way I approach all the events I compete in.
So with Clark out of contention, the German team of Stoschek and Spaeth take the lead in their first ever Targa Newfoundland.
Steve Millen uses the wet to his advantage and opens up his lead in the modern division. Based on speed alone, he's been the outright fastest through the whole rally.
And Bob Ewell keeps his Camaro clean through the morning rain, moving up 2 places for all the effort. So here we go, 5 stages left. Glenn Clark has fallen to 6th, and he's tied with Paul Horton. Roy Hopkins trails new leader Michael Stoschek by just 1. Bob Ewell in position to make a move on Buchanan for 3rd if this weather continues. Both Millen and Sprongel dominate their divisions. It is tight coming down to the wire. When we come back, the teams will have to face Targa's most challenging stage in the wet, and then it's the final push to St. John's.
And they played their hand close to the chest all day long, but we knew they took penalties on that. And
I don't think there was a race I lost.
I can say congratulations and my full respect.
With the weather still shaking things up, only one thing is for sure. This is still anyone's rally. We're on to the final run to the finish. Targa Newfoundland on Canada's sports leader, TSN. Welcome back. And so here we go. It's the final stretch here at Targa Newfoundland 2009. Targa Newfoundland on TSN is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador. As the rain continues to pour and the sun is nowhere to be seen, the teams line up for one of the rally's most challenging signature stages, Brigus.
Brigus forces the teams to deal with 19 separate turns, most of them squares and T's over 2 kilometers. The pace is frenetic and co-driver pacing is critical to a fast run.
And Paul, this stage perfectly suited to a team such as Hopkins and Hughes.
Yeah, absolutely, Vic. The team's experience and their nimble BMW should be a winning combination here. Stashek had trouble, though, understeering into a fence.
We ran Brigus. We came by the white fence that had the big hole on it. That turned out to have been put there from Peter and Michael in car 304, the green Porsche. We didn't know who put it there, but it was there, and we got to the end of the stage, and we had made the time. We were very, very pleased. We made the time on that stage. And they played their hand close to their chest all day long, but we knew they took penalties in that, and whatever, so the heat was on.
And Stashek wasn't the only Porsche driver to have a split second of terror on Brigus as Ganew's 911 gets out of shape over the bridge.
Hey, Paul, look at this. It's starting to look like Las Vegas Lucy might actually make it to the checkered flag of her first target without having to be pushed over the finish line by Pledger and Willett. That's quite the improvement over last year. And so could a podium be in sight for the team next year?
I wouldn't hold my breath, Vic. I think Horton and Potter have a better shot at it. They've been getting steadily faster and are handling the wet roads well.
As is Steve Millen. In his IMSA and Road Racing Championship days, he wrote the book on driving fast in the wet, and there were very few, if any, drivers that could match him in the rain. And his mastery, you wonder if it'll be enough.
I love racing in the rain. In fact, when I was racing IMSA in the rain, I don't think there was a race I lost because I just love it. And we're always quick in the rain. We did some races in Japan and in monsoons, and we lapped the field. And that's why I had a lot of confidence in the rain, but the times is too big a gap.
Alongside the Targa competitors, the Grand Touring Class competition is wrapping up. Ottawa's Ferdinand and Christoph Trautmannsdorf take top honors in the equipped class, being the only team to clean the rally. They hold off the husband and wife team of Bruce and Jane Leonard. In the unequipped class, Alan Curley and Greg Martin take their third Grand Touring win in a row without a rally computer. And they kept John and Chris Baker's BMW at bay right to the finish.
In proper Group B fashion, Frank Sprongel, Rod Hendrickson fire the AT Quattro to its second Open Division win. Second place goes to Targa veterans Jim Kenzie and Brian Bourbonniere in the Mini Challenge car.
Although Bob Ewell makes a run near the end at Judd Buchanan, Judd manages to keep up the pace, tying with Ewell to make his sixth podium at Targa. Judd told us that after 8 Targas, the Acadian is being retired. He'll surprise us with something new in 2010.
And Paul, the wet finally took its toll on Stashek and his 911, and he takes penalties on the second half of the day. After battling with Hopkins for the lead, the Germans have to settle for second. Still, though, a stunning performance for the first time Targa performance.
Which leaves Hopkins holding the lead. So far, he's managed to clean every stage today, and on straight speed, he's been the 4th fastest of the whole rally in a 41-year-old car. If the American team cleans all the stages on day 5, they will be the first ever to do so.
And Paul, let's be honest, there's no doubt that Hopkins and Hughes are smart enough to pull it off. Their car is built perfectly. The strategy, they've maintained it. It's perfect. They've clearly mastered the winning formula here on the island. So if Hopkins can hold it together, if he can keep it clean, he will win his 3rd Targa Newfoundland in a row. And Paul, he's done it.
We were clean on day 5, and I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, one of the things about Targa is tire management. I still had a lot of tread. I didn't slide the car much all week, and that really helped. We were able to push it on the stages. It was terrifying driving at times. The car was hydroplaning and skidding a lot of places, but we kept it on the road and were able to clean the stages.
It is one of the tightest finishes in Targa Newfoundland history. Hopkins wins his 3rd Targa, with Stashek claiming 2nd in his first try. Canadians Buchanan and Ewell tie for 3rd ahead of Paul Horton from Turks and Caicos. New Zealander Steve Millen wins Modern division, 6th overall, and Frank Sprongel dominated the open division to the end. So as the teams that survived file into the ceremonial finish in St. John's, drivers, co-drivers, service crews, marshals, organizers, and volunteers all have a chance to contemplate this amazing adventure that they all shared.
No matter where you finish in the running order, it's just getting to the checkered flag at Targa Newfoundland that's a major accomplishment.
Every year gets more intense, more fast cars, more great competitors. The weather was a real factor today. It was just really tough driving conditions, and it really hurt our friend Glenn.
Certainly gracious words and no hard feelings from Clark.
That's racing. You know, we had the wrong tires for today, and anytime we get over 90 kilometers an hour, the car just hydroplanes. So not much you can do. It's frustrating, but that's life. That's why we go racing.
For Hopkins and Hughes, the respect that goes with their win is well earned.
Roy Hopkins and Adrian Hughes, they put their heart and soul in it. They're damn good at what they do. Roy's a solid car builder.
And it's nice to see someone build a car and go out and just thrash it. It's great. I love it.
I'm so much interested to see how he moves this BMW through the corners.
So he knows what he's doing at the wheel, and Adrian obviously knows what she's doing on the right side of the car as a co-driver.
He's a winner of this rally, I think, 3 times now. I can say congratulations and my full respect.
Winning, or even just competing in Targa Newfoundland, is a challenge grander than just about anything in the world of motorsports.
We tell our friends that they have to come do this at Targa Newfoundland.
You come here to race. The backdrop is this fantastic scenery.
We've come to a part of the world that we wouldn't normally have come to, and we've thoroughly enjoyed it. The countryside, the people, the friendliness of everyone, it's really been a great memory, it really has.
We met so many nice people, and always the people want to help out and support us, and that was a great experience.
The Newfoundland people are wonderful. There is nobody better.
Targa, it just blows me away every year. Your rivals become friends.
I don't regret coming here, for sure.
Where else can they close roads, let you drive on as fast as you want to? A weekend-long adventure that's all wrapped around this beautiful island here.
Everyone who attempts Targa Newfoundland leaves knowing what they're capable of. It's beyond driving fast. It's about testing your mettle and finding your limits. And every year, it gets better. Targa Newfoundland is the pinnacle of motorsports experiences, and entries for 2010 have already started pouring in. Now, for Paul Chater and our entire crew, thank you for joining us. Targa Newfoundland on Canada's sports leader, TSN.